Right, you've just bought your brand new bike and you're about to ride away from the dealers. You've got your helmet, you got your jacket, your boots, your gloves, you got all your gear, you got your bike, you're away. Hey, hang on a minute, what's next? You need more than that. What to buy next and in what order?
Bike cover? No. FS365 or ACF50, something to protect the bike? No. Bike wash? No. You dropped that, didn't you? Yeah. Chain lube? Definitely chain lube. Nope. Bit of luggage? Tank bag? Tail bag? No. That's miles away, yeah. Oil. I need to pick up some oil. You do, but not right now. Chain cleaner? No. Tire inflator? No. But getting close.
What about a helmet anti-fog?
Nah.
Tools to adjust your chain?
No. A bike lock? Even a disc lock like this? No, not the first thing, but bloody close.
Matching HT lead earrings? No, these are not required immediately, but shortly after you've bought the bike.
A foot pump? No, not the first thing, but you'll be wanting one.
What about a tyre pressure gauge? No! Who thought it was number one? Own up, it's not. It's close though, close.
An Optimate battery tender or another brand? No.
Okay, so that's a lot of shit we've gone through. That's an awful lot of gear to get, but you should get it. And in what order though? You know, you're paying for this shit. Geez, you thought you'd invested everything. Your hat, your helmet, your gloves, your jacket, your jeans or fucking other riding gear. And you're thinking, great, I'm on the road to my new motorcycle ownership. There's an awful lot of shit to buy yet, and I went through a pile of it just now. But what order shall we get that stuff in? Let's have a look. So here it is. The first thing you should buy as a new motorcycle owner. I've got mine under my rear seat. Here we are. A puncture repair kit. Now I'm hoping you've bought your new bike, your 125 with alloy wheels, and so you've got tubeless tyres. If you've got spoke tyres, this may not be for you. Hopefully you haven't. A puncture repair kit. This could be the very first thing you need. When you set off from that dealer, a mile down the road, you could get a puncture. You can fix it yourself by the side of the road, so you're not dependent on anyone else to do that. That has to be the number one item. If you disagree, tell me why. Okay, so we got a new bike, we got our clothes, helmet, everything like that. What's next? Oh yeah, and I've bought my puncture repair kit. Okay, so what's next? The next thing we need. Well, we're gonna go somewhere and park up, so it has to be security, doesn't it? So disc lock, chains, all that usual sort of stuff. So that's number 2 on the list, security. Number 3 for me, tire pressure gauge. Little bikes like 125s and smaller bikes, they really suffer with poor tyre pressures. Keep on top of these for safety, good fuel consumption and great handling. So next for me, number 3, tyre pressure gauge. Geez, that's the noisy chair, isn't it? What are we going to do if we need to pump our tyres up? Look, we don't want to go around a petrol station and start buying tokens and trying to pump it up and stuff. Be self-sufficient. Get yourself just a cheap mechanical pump. They're not expensive. I think this was about, I don't know, 15 euros or something like this. And there was a cheaper one with a single cylinder. The gauge on here is actually very accurate. It actually matches that gauge there, which is very accurate. So cheap as chips. Right, the plug lead earrings are quite high on my list, so I'm going to make those number 4. Motorcycle coolant. If you've got a nice water-cooled 125 or first bike, you're going to need motorcycle coolant at some stage, but there's no rush. If it's a new bike, you can leave it for a couple of years, so you can put that well down the list, right at the back there. In fact, don't buy it until you need it. Next, well, it's got to be chain lube. That chain's got to be kept lubricated, but you don't have to overdo it. Don't waste any time in your life watching some stupid YouTube video about somebody comparing, we compared 25 chain lubes to find out which was the best. Walk into your bike shop, your nearest bike shop, motorcycle shop, and buy the first chain lube you see on the shelf. It really doesn't matter a toss about any of them. Just buy a motorcycle chain lube. Lube your chain once a week if you're using your bike regularly. You don't have to overdo it though. Oil, yeah, a lot of these 125s have a little 1 litre, this CB125F here, the oil capacity is only 1 litre, so I just say get yourself a little 1 litre thing of oil, and just in case you have to top your bike up, have that in the shed at home. Just check out your manual for what specification oil it is, 5W30 or whatever it may be for your bike. Next on my list to me, especially if you're keeping your bike outside, well actually only if you're keeping your bike outside, a bike cover, just to stop the thing rusting in front of your very eyes. If you've got a shed or a garage, great, stick your bike in that, that's all the better. But if you have no option, a bike cover is perfect. And it adds a little layer of security as well. But I was thinking about it just to keep the bike from being covered in pouring rain all the time. Next for me, again, if you live in kind of wet climates, you might decide to pick up some FS365 or ACF50 or some sort of protectorant. Do you know though, they're not essential. They're not essential. Maybe on the birthday or the Christmas list. A splash of that stuff every now and then, read the label obviously, might go some way to, keeping your bike in shape, but really washing the salt off with a hose is probably better than any of this stuff. But if you can go one stage further and chuck this sort of stuff on, this sort of protectorant, that's great too. Some bike wash, yeah, it might be nice to have some bike wash. I'd put that next on the list. A quick spray of this over the bike, you leave it 5 minutes, you tend to find it lifts some of the dirt, and you can wash it off with a hose. This is a fairly new thing, chain cleaner. I'm going to put that next on my list. Do you know, it's something that when I first started motorcycling, I'd never heard of chain cleaner because nobody did it. You just lubed your chain and cleaned it maybe with a bit of paraffin or something like that. Look, if you want to clean your chain, look, 1 can's going to last you years as far as I'm concerned. You don't have to religiously clean your chains like mad. That's only for people who are anal about having shiny chains. At some stage, your chain's going to stretch over time as you use your bike, and you are going to have to adjust it to take some of the excess slack out of it. The tools in your toolkit are unlikely to be enough to be able to loosen the axle and adjust it. Some of them might fit, but most of them won't. So you'll need to gather those tools up to be able to do that. That's not a real burning issue, you've just bought the bike. But check in the toolkit and see what spanners you have got. Some of them might fit these adjusters, some might not. But in this case, for this Honda CB125F, there's 4 different spanners needed. The 2 axle, the bolt end and the nut the other end are 2 different sizes. And then the adjusters are 2 different sizes. So that's 4 spanners just to adjust the chain. You're not going to have those in your toolkit. So at some stage, look about gathering those together. Now I mentioned having a torque wrench as well to be able to torque the rear wheel axle back up to its torque spec. Unfortunately, on this CB125, the exhaust is in the way and it's a big deal taking off. It's a one piece and it goes all the way back to the header. So look, I've been spannering for a long time. I'll just use my own knowledge and tighten it up as I see fit. But if your axle nut is exposed and you can easily get a torque wrench on it, have a torque wrench. If you're using your bike regularly, you shouldn't really need a battery tender. It's only really for bikes that are kind of laid up weeks and weeks at a time. Or something that's getting a bit of a heavy draw with an alarm or something like that. So if you've got your little 125, you're really unlikely to need a battery tender if you're using it regularly enough. And you're not going to believe this, just to prove my point, I wanted to do the last little bit of filming for this little segment here, and I rode here and I got a puncture on the way. That's the 2nd puncture this bike has had in 3,000 kilometers. Now I've been very lucky. It kind of went down on me and I was only a few miles from here, so I managed to limp in here. But if the journey had been any further, I would have been stuck by the roadside waiting for the AA or someone to come and pick me up. So that's 2 punctures in 3,000 kilometers. Just unlucky. Like I might have done 60,000 on the other bikes in the last 3 years or 4 years or so. And I've had 3 punctures actually. But to get 2 on the same tire in 3,000 kilometers, it's just bad luck. There's a tiny little pinhole in there. Now I'm not going to plug it because if I've got the option to take the wheel off, and I have here, I'm going to take it to a tire dealer and get it professionally repaired rather than have the plug, because I'm going to try and save this tire. So that's it for me. The #1 item you should buy as soon as you can after you bought your new 125 is a puncture repair kit. After that, a bit of security, of course, tyre pressure gauge. I then went for a pump, which you can keep at home. I'm not suggesting you carry that around on your bike. A bit of chain lube, a bit of spare engine oil, and a bike cover to try and keep the bike nice and dry and stop it rotting away on you. A bit of corrosion inhibitor to help you along with that. Maybe a bit of bike wash and some chain cleaner. And then last but not least, it's tools to adjust the chain. But really, the focus of this video was the puncture repair kit. Just carry it all the time. There's a bit of space under the seat on this CB125. And it's great to be able to be self-sufficient on the road and get yourself back on the road and off busy roads or off dodgy motorways or anything like that. Get your tyre fixed as soon as possible and move on.